They don't. I just have freakishly small feet. Children's size 5. It's big kids, so it's okay. I told my mom that I started doing stand-up, and she said, good, that history degree isn't going to feed you. Somebody told me that they thought econ was the easiest major. That just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, those guys have never struck me as particularly slutty. I'm kind of a nerd. Sometimes I get drunk and I wake up with strange books in my bed. I don't even speak French. Now, I really hate the History Channel. Like, even back when they showed history programming, because they would always try to create suspense for historical events like everybody knew how they ended. Would the early humans survive the Ice Age? Gee, I don't know. I bet we made it. That's just a hunch. I better keep watching. Hulu keeps showing me advertisements suggesting that I travel Iowa. Which is weird because I'm actually from Iowa. My theory is that they figured that they're not actually going to get anybody to go out of their way to visit Iowa. Target those of us who are already there. Gotta keep your goals achievable. Seriously though, I have a Google News search for my hometown. For the last 2 months, the top headline has been police confirm bobcat sighting. When I was younger, I used to publish a family newspaper. Now, it started out with high morals and journalistic integrity. I published a bunch of stories about my achievements and, some things my siblings did as well. Eventually, of course, it devolved into a tabloid about our cats. That is natural progression. I still maintain that my special edition on Puff's weight problem was a fine piece of investigative journalism. Okay, sometimes when I'm bored and I'm stuck home alone, I go through all the pictures of me from middle school and I airbrush out all the acne. I'm planning long term. Someday when I have kids and they hit middle school, start to hit puberty, and their skin gets as terrible as mine was, I'll be like, what? I don't know where that came from. All these pictures show photographic proof that I have always had flawless skin. Mostly from your dad. I'm really big on planning for the future. I keep a journal and I like to write occasional notes to the future historians that I assume will be reading it. Hey you, what the fuck are you doing reading my journal? That's just creepy. Unless I'm famous in the future, then I guess it's your job. I'm famous? What did I do? Am I president? Do you have flying cars? Is the internet still a thing? Was there a robot war? Did we win? See, I just throw out a lot of random guesses because I figure I only have to get a couple of them right to freak them the fuck out. The thing that I'm looking forward to most about the future is the fact that hip-hop is going to be old people music. It's happening to jazz, it's happening to rock and roll as we speak. It's only a matter of time. We just gotta live long enough. The second channel of NPR just playing hip-hop. Dog will be fundraising for PBS. It's gonna be great. Have you had this conversation with your parents yet? About what they want done with their bodies when they die? My dad's pretty straightforward. He just wants to be cremated. That's easy. My mom wants us to find a good taxidermist. She'd like to be stuffed in a lifelike pose, set at the kitchen table, and, dusted occasionally. I'm a little more mainstream than my mom. I think embalming is creepy, but I also don't want to go to one of those cremation ovens. No, I want a big bonfire, like Viking style. And it takes care of food, because obviously you serve s'mores. So, in 8th grade, my civics class had a unit called the Middleburg Unit. And the purpose of this was to teach us about good government. So we were all assigned roles in this fictional town of Middleburg, and we had to come up with, platforms and hold municipal elections and so on. Naturally, I became a lobbyist. I built a political machine that comprised 19 of the 24 people in my class. In the end, we cast 23 identical ballots. One person varied on one candidate, but was otherwise true to form. In return for this, I told our newly elected city council how to vote on key issues. My class was probably a more accurate representation of the political process than was actually intended of the project. On an unrelated note, I got 137%. Now, free markets are very popular among people of a certain political persuasion. I'm sure you've all heard of the invisible hand. Markets are guided by the invisible hand, which certain circles tend to portray as a paternal figure that will produce the distribution of goods that is best for everybody. But I think if the last century has taught us anything, is that the invisible hand belongs to an abusive stepfather that likes to beat the shit out of the economy every day or two. My mom likes to make up her own insults. It wasn't until high school that I realized the commonly used phrase isn't "suck my cats." I use the word fuck a lot, and I've been trying to cut down on it. I just feel like I've gotten kind of a rut swear word wise. So I'm trying to come up with more creative ways to swear, and I've been doing a bit of research. Did you know Wikipedia only lists 33 swear words in English? And a lot of them are compound words too, like shit, holy shit, shit ass, and shit ass without the space. There just isn't a whole lot of room for creativity there. I do kind of like Christ on a cracker, but I'm not particularly religious, and I don't consider it to be swearing. And it's kind of fun to say bloody, but I'm not British, so it doesn't work. The other difficult thing about swearing is you have to be able to work it naturally into your conversation and into your flow of speech. Like when you drop something on your foot, it has to be the first word that comes to mind, not like the one you have to think through to remember what's there. I've got a problem because I'm trying to use the phrase 3 sheets to the wind. It's a really good old-fashioned phrase, but whenever I'm actually drunk enough for the phrase 3 sheets to the wind to apply to me, I'm too drunk to remember the archaic phrase I've heard. There are 2 ways to win cards against humanity. If you get the most cards, you're the best player. But if you get the fewest cards, you're the best person. I don't know if you guys have read anything about the Macho Jesus movement. I swear this is a real thing. Recently, there's been a movement among evangelical Christians to man up Jesus. Drop that namby-pamby, love thy neighbor bullshit and replace it with a more masculine Christ. Take back Jesus from those hippies who somehow got the idea that when he said turn the other cheek, he actually meant that, and this is a big leap, violent retribution is wrong. Fucking liberals. Obviously, this movement is hugely necessary because we have entirely the wrong idea about Jesus in this country. To quote one of the pastors who is a part of this movement, Jesus is not a pansy or a pacifist. Because, it's a big assumption that the guy who's called the Prince of Peace might actually be in favor of peace. He actually says that we should describe, this is Pastor Mark Driscoll, he's from Seattle, and he says that we should describe, that Jesus is a prize fighter with a tattoo down his leg, a sword in his hand, and the commitment to make someone bleed. Sounds like my Of course, this movement has been popular. The internet can only think of 2, and one of them is always oranges. I do have a goldfish, and I chat with my goldfish a lot. Well, I chat at him. He doesn't really respond. It's like, how they used to keep canaries in the coal mines until the carbon monoxide was getting to be too much? It's like that, but for my sanity. See, he's never talked back, but the moment he does, I know I've lost it. And I can close with this. My brother's birthday is coming up in about 2 weeks. And I have a list of 7 things I've learned from having siblings. 1, your mom is not always an effective comeback. their nose. Geopolitics says nothing on the complexity and delicacy of the constantly shifting sibling alliances. And number 7, if you lick all the cookies, your brother will still eat them.
What I think is really funny about certain religions is the whole born again thing. Mainly because I'm really jealous that some people get to be born twice. But the main thing is I like applying it to other things, mainly just because I really want Miley Cyrus to be a born again Hannah Montana.